Greetings of the day. Today's presentation is dedicated to demystify RERA. RERA is the acronym for Real Estate Regulation Act 2016. The very first question that arises in the mind of any builder or developer is what to do. How does RERA impact me? Or what is at stake in the project that will affect me? Since long time, real estate in India was at the mercy of the builders and faced many compliances issues such as delays in delivering the projects, methodologies of area calculations, quality of work, etc. The construction industry is now regulated by this act, especially the projects where developers or promoters are developing the projects for sale in open market. Therefore, the act proves to be an important feature in construction scenario which needs to be understood from the point of view of construction managers. The traditional methods of developers coming up with projects has undergone a total revamp due to RERA. This makes us necessary to understand the provisions of RERA and devise our project management strategies to suit the compliance to the act, as well as to increase the credibility of the developers in the market, so that the buyer is not only attracted but will be given the deliverables in tangible form, thus adding value to the project and the construction industry. Housing for all is the motto of the central government with an aim to provide houses for the entire population of urban and rural India. This initiative of central government has been a source of boost for the construction industry to look forward for developing the housing sector. The major share in the construction industry is belonging to the housing sector, which is majorly a privately owned space by builders, developers and promoters. This major contribution of the private developers, both large-scale and small-scale developers, is an important aspect to the development occurring in the construction sector and plays a major role in providing housing for the urban and rural population. The functioning of the housing sector has a huge impact on economy of the country and therefore is a matter of deep concern for the government to regulate and streamline its operations. The housing sector in the past faced many challenges with respect to its functioning, finances and management. There were many lacunas that caused a strained relationship between the buyer, the developer and the government. The many vices and irregularities dominated the sector, thus leading to high level of dissatisfaction, malpractices and exploitation of the buyer or the flat owner. The scenario was not only disadvantageous to the buyer but also created a negative impact on the genuine developers who cater to the industry genuinely and with transparency. The outcome of the scenario was very much visible in the form of delayed projects, cost overruns, changes in the project details, etc. The worst outcome led to the abandonment of the project by the developers, thereby buyers, investors and financiers, banks and non-financial banking institutions facing huge losses and lost credibility of the developer in the open market. Many developers faced legal action due to violation of laws and buyers forced to resort to legal mode of availing justice in procuring their dream house. In order to streamline the sector, create accountability and to maintain the transparency, the central government passed the Real Estate Regulation and Development Act 2016 RERA. The Real Estate Regulation and Development Act 2016 was formulated to regulate the housing sector so that there is transparent mechanism to address the challenges faced by the industry. The Act came into force on 1st May 2017. The very aim of the Act is to protect the interests of the home buyer and to boost the investment in the real estate sector. The Act establishes a regulatory authority, Real Estate Regulatory Authority, to monitor and implement the provisions of Real Estate Regulation and Development Act 2016. It is envisaged in the Act that each state should formulate its rules for implementation of Real Estate Regulation Development Act 2016. Accordingly, the Government of Maharashtra formulated Maharashtra Real Estate Regulation and Development, Registration of Real Estate Projects, Registration of Real Estate Agents, Rates of Interest and Disclosures on Website, Rules 2017. Under the Real Estate Regulation and Development Act 2016, Government of Maharashtra established Maharashtra Real Estate Regulatory Authority, that is RERA, by notification number 23 dated 8th March 2017 for regulation and promotion of real estate sector in the state of Maharashtra with its headquarters at Mumbai. Since the implementation of RERA, the developers and buyers are facing various questions about its applications and its implications. On the first instant, we need to understand the provisions of RERA so that it becomes easy for the project managers to apply the principles of project management. First, let us understand what is the nature of RERA. RERA recognizes the relationship between home buyer and the seller, that is the developer or the promoter. The critical aspect of the real estate market is the definition of a buyer and the seller and the relationship between the two. It has been observed in the past that this relationship is opposite in nature, that is, the buyer wants maximum benefits with minimum cost, whereas the seller wants maximum profits with minimum benefits to be provided. Therefore, it becomes necessary to establish an equitable relationship between the two so that both are benefited. Let us understand what is the objective of RERA. The preamble of RERA says an act to establish the Real Estate Regulatory Authority for regulation and promotion of the real estate sector and to ensure sale of plot, apartment or building as the case may be, or the sale of real estate project is an efficient, transparent manner and to protect the interests of consumers in the real estate sector. It is very important to note this aspect of RERA, which speaks clearly of establishment of Real Estate Regulatory Authority, which will regulate the real estate sector, which was unmonitored as well as unorganized. The authority will ensure efficient and transparent sale of real estate project and will also protect the interests of the consumers. It should be noted that these all aspects of regulation, transparency and protection of interests of the consumers was very much needed to develop the real estate sector and to boost the economy. Understanding the applicability of RERA. Is RERA applicable to all the projects? Let us understand. According to the Act, it is mandatory for the developer or promoter to register the project with the Real Estate Regulatory Authority set up under RERA to proceed with the sale of the project. The registration of the project is mandatory if the land area proposed to be developed is above 500 square meters or the number of apartments proposed to be developed exceed 8 in number, inclusive of all the phases of the project. The registration is not mandatory if the developer or promoter has completed the project and received the completion certificate for the project. It is also not mandatory for renovation, repair or redevelopment project which does not involve marketing, advertising, selling on new allotment of any apartment, plot or building as the case may be under the real estate project. Where the real estate project is to be developed in phases, every such phase shall be considered a standalone real estate project and the promoter shall obtain registration under this Act for each phase separately. Now let us understand various terms that have been used in RERA. It is very much necessary to understand them with respect to the establishment of relationship between the buyer and the seller. The first term that RERA identifies is allottee. Allottee means the person to whom a plot, apartment or building, as the case may be, has been allotted, sold, whether as a freehold or leasehold, or otherwise transferred by the promoter, and includes the person who subsequently acquires the said allotment through sale, transfer or otherwise, but does not include a person to whom such plot, apartment or building, as the case may be, is given on rent. The next definition which RERA identifies is apartment. Whether called as block, chamber, dwelling unit, flat, office, showroom, shop, godown, premises, unit, tenement, unit or by any other name, means a separate and self-contained part of any immovable property, including one or more rooms or enclosed spaces located on one or more floors or any part thereof, in a building or on a plot of land, used or intended to be used for any residential or commercial use, such as residence, office, shop, showroom or godown, or for carrying on any business, occupation, profession or trade, or for any other type of use ancillary to the purpose specified. This is the definition as mentioned in RERA. The various probable names of the apartment has been included in the definition of the apartment so that there is no misunderstanding as to the nature of the immovable property involved in the transaction. It includes residential as well as commercial property. Carpet area, the most disputed area in the building project. RERA defines carpet area as the net usable floor area of an apartment excluding the area covered by the external walls, areas under services, shafts, exclusive balcony or veranda area and exclusive open terrace area, but includes the area covered by the internal partition walls of the apartment. The most debatable aspect of any real estate project is its area as derived by the promoter and actually handed over to the customer. The definition and concept of carpet area is very important as this area is easy to calculate and can be easily verified at site by the customer. The use of the concept of carpet area and its definition are easy to understand to the general public at large. The term sellable area has been eliminated from the Act and is no longer applicable. The next important point is the common areas. RERA defines common areas as the entire land for the real estate project or where the project is developed in phases and registration under this Act is sought for the phase, the entire land for that phase. The staircases, lifts, the lift lobbies, fire escapes and common entrance and exits of the buildings are included in common areas. The common basements, terraces, parks, play areas, open parking areas and common storage spaces. The premises for lodging of persons employed for the management of the property, including accommodation for watchmen and ward staff or for lodging of community services personnel are also included in common areas. Installation of central services such as electricity, gas, water, sanitation, air conditioning and incinerating, system for water conservation and renewable energy, the water tanks, sumps, motors, fans, compressors, ducts and all apparatus connected with installations for common use, all community and commercial facilities as provided in the real estate project, all other portion of the project necessary for convenient for its maintenance, safety and in common use. Prospectus. It is very much necessary to prepare a prospectus, brochure or similar document to invite the buyers for sale of real estate project. Such prospectus is generally prepared to provide the information about the project, its salient features, project details, so that the buyer is attracted to the project. In RERA, prospectus means any document described or issued as a prospectus or as a notice, circular or other document offering for sale for any real estate project or inviting any person to make advances or deposits for such purpose means a prospectus. Last but not the least, important definition is the definition of advertisement. What does it mean to advertise as per RERA? Advertisement means any document prescribed or issued as advertisement through any medium and includes any notice, circular or other documents or publicity in any form informing persons about a real estate project or offering for sale of a plot, building or apartment, or inviting persons to purchase in any manner such plot, building or apartment, or to make advances or deposits for such purposes. Advertisement is the most essential and important aspect in the sale of the project. Any advertisement, whether in print or digital media, assists in attracting the buyer to the project and plays an important role in creating a belief about the project right at the initial stage. Most of the buyers are attracted towards the project due to the contents and visuals displayed in the advertisement, which becomes a potential ground for disputes at the later stage. Let's discuss the other parts of RERA in our next part of our discussion. Thank you.